Hey everyone, and welcome to my project of me fixing up my kitchen table. I should have gotten some better footage of how this table started out, but originally it was a dark green color with some white vinyl seating, so I decided to repaint everything and reupholster the chairs. I started out by removing the seats from the frames of the chairs. Then I sanded everything down using a 150 grit sandpaper. The metal was actually pretty textured already, so I could have skipped this step, but if you are deciding to paint any metal for a project, I would recommend sanding it down a little bit to give it more of a texture so that the paint can properly adhere. Next, I wiped down all the metal to remove any dirt, dust, or debris with soapy water before I spray painted everything. I would recommend buying more spray paint than you think you'll need. I bought mine from Home Depot and they said I could bring back any spray paint I didn't end up using. For one table and 4 chairs, I went through 3.5 cans. Then came the messy part. I chose Rust-Oleum Chalked Ultra Matte Spray Paint in the color Charcoal because I wanted the metal components of this table to be a really dark gray to better highlight the fabric I chose for the seats. I ended up being covered in gray freckles from this, so be sure to wear clothes you don't mind getting dirty. Because of the sun and the glare, I ended up missing random spots, so I had to touch up the paint a few times to ensure even coverage of the green. So welcome to a new day and a new hair color. So first I removed the old upholstery, which was honestly the hardest part of this whole project. There were so many staples. I removed the staples using a Phillips head screwdriver and pliers. Some of the staples were quite hard to remove, so please be careful during this step. I ended up cutting myself with a screwdriver. Also, please ignore how black my socks are. I ended up doing a little touch-up on some of the paint on garbage bags in my living room, so there's a mist of spray paint along the floors. I next cut the fabric so there was just enough to fold over the edges of the seat and secure it. I bought more than enough fabric, so I wasn't too precise with my cutting, but I ended up cutting off the excess fabric in the end. When I started to staple on the new fabric, I started by putting one staple on each side of the cushion, ensuring that the fabric was pulled taut. Then I just went side by side, stapling along the edges, pulling the corners tight, and ensuring that the fabric was taut the whole way along. I used way more staples than necessary, but I wanted to make sure that nothing would move in the future and that there would be no wrinkles along the seat. I chose this beautiful green-blue color because it's one of my favorite colors, and I thought it would give some brightness to the table without it being entirely too overwhelming in this space. It also shows up more blue on camera, but I promise it's this beautiful green-blue color. And then you just screw the seats back onto the chairs. I also decided to go one step further and cover the glass top with a frosted window film because I thought it would not only look better, but because I knew constantly seeing fingerprints on the glass would drive me absolutely nuts. I bought this off Amazon for around $32. First, you cut the vinyl to your desired size. Then you clean the surface you're applying it to in order to remove any dust or debris. Then you cover the surface in water or the cleaning solution so the entire surface is wet. Next, you remove the plastic backing from the film and place the film on the surface. Clearly, I struggled getting the plastic off the back. Then I cut around the edges so the film wasn't hanging off the end and was the exact same size as my glass top. Finally comes the more irritating part, removing all the air bubbles. For this, you just take a plastic card of any kind, like a credit card, and scrape it along the surface towards the edges, pushing the bubbles to the edge so that the air can be released and the film is flush against the surface. This can take a while depending on how particular you are. And that's it. This whole process could be done in a single day if you have the equipment already on hand. The upholstery and the window film could be done while you wait for the spray paint to dry. I am so pleased with how this project turned out. It's so much better than I even imagined. Thank you so much for coming along on this adventure with me. What's your next project? Leave me a comment down below. I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye!